Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the SIG Node CI meeting. It is December 18th, 2024. First up, we have conversation between Sergey and Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Let me go ahead. Can I get access to share? All right, thank you. Yeah, so kind of what I've been realizing, like a lot of our test infra stuff around SIG Node is pretty complicated and really error prone. And I think I talked about this yesterday, our last meeting, but I saw this kept from Patrick that was kind of Patrick Oli around trying to clean up a lot of this stuff. Actually, I don't know if this was you, Sergey, or Patrick. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I saw that like some of the action items are pretty simple. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I haven't tackled. There's a lot in here. I noticed like node feature and node special feature, and then another one called node alpha feature were all kind of sparsely used, and the goal was to kind of start dropping some of these and sort of trying to gravitate towards having the same feature definitions that test/ETE has as, and so SIG doesn't have their own special way of running stuff. So I kind of created a tracking issues, and I have it kind of separated into two streams. Thanks to Sergey, I merged this one yesterday, which drops node special feature and node alpha feature. This actually this has caused some problems, and I'm fixing those now. I guess I didn't have it here, but yeah, so the first top two here, and I'm still working on trying to fix the fallout from that. I added, in the agenda, I have, I don't think this is going to fix them all, but basically the problem was, if you look, we can go into the test infra. This is causing all our serial jobs are starting to fail. And like looking at, they're failing kind of in a pretty ugly way. I haven't looked at the EC2 ones, but you can see here on our release blocking, if you go to this one, the errors are, yeah, you can see here, basically,
so it picked up some derators that it didn't supposed to, and derators hang forever.
yeah, and so that's the fallout for number one for fixing this was to just, unfortunately, what the issue was, all the serial jobs are focusing, like if you tag a job with serial, it's going to run in most of our serial test lanes, and that's why we have kind of exclude features. So I went ahead and added feature dynamic resource allocation as a skip to all these. This just merged, so I'm hoping tomorrow things will look a lot better. I don't know if I've solved all of them, but yeah, a lot of these, like the focus, like this kind of stuff is a little challenging to, not challenging, but basically anytime a job is marked with serial, we kind of run it in a lot of these generic lanes, and that's why. And then a lot of times we'll have to add exclude for features, because I think beforehand we were using node alpha feature as kind of a catch-all for all these, even though it was only used in a handful of places. So that's at least the top one, and then I'm kind of leaning towards going down this list for now, and like working on this in this release cycle. The next one I have is the like I guess Sergey was curious about, like there's a lot of duplication here. My idea of this one was, I think we talked about this in the call last week, trying to maybe like what I do for this test, deprecating node feature, I kind of replicated all the places where I saw where I see node feature fs group. I created a counterpart called feature.fs group, and that way this shouldn't break anything yet. It's just we're adding the tag, and the hope was to merge this one and then wait and see how things look. And then the next one in the list was to actually remove, this one might have a conflict right now. So this one actually removes, well, this is based off the other one, but the goal was to remove the node feature entirely and kind of drop it from all the tests. And then the final PR of this stage would be actually dropping the node feature as an option from the test infra. So that's at least kind of the hope there. That's at least what I was trying to work on in 1.33. Hopefully earlier stages. I guess, Sergey, you had some questions.
No, I think you answered all the questions. It's it's definitely a big project to transition everything, and it's big not because it's a lot of work. It's because of lots of tracking, like which jobs failed and like which job needs to be fixed up.
Yeah, and then I know Patrick really wants us to also start using label filters in all our SIG Node jobs. I'm kind of would like to focus on this one first, but that's a bigger undertaking for, I think I talked about that last week, but that was the idea. At least it sounds like what they're trying to standardize on. I don't know how much they have.
Yeah, it's gonna do it in the array for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Yeah. So, I mean, the only issue is it's a pretty massive change. Where is it? No, these are much. Yeah, like these label filters. I think what this does is it combines both the focus and skips into a single regular expression. And I guess like if anyone's open to it, we can start slowly transitioning to use these. I just don't know if we should do it all in one go or who would like to do it. But yeah, like the idea is trying to get rid of this focus and skip and then sort of combine it with a single label filter. But we have a lot of other stuff that's going on too. So I'm kind of leaning towards I'll focus on this one for now and then we'll see.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Node labels looks good and they're more expressive, but I mean, right now we have this mess of labels that are causing more problems than just a format of expressiveness.
Yeah, and then there's another refactoring going. I think it's mostly on the cryo side, replacing all the cryo jobs to use kubetest 2. Ed has been working with an external contributor on that one. It's another migration that hopefully we can get out underneath us. I think we only are just about wrapping up the pre-submits, and hopefully the periodics. We've learned a lot from the pre-submits, and hopefully we can do it much quicker for the periodic jobs. Well, that's it for me. Yeah, what I was gonna do is I'm gonna let the dust settle on the node alpha feature and node special feature and get the jobs in order before I start the node feature deprecation, just so I don't have to be debugging two different issues at the same time.
They want to make an owner and send a CL to, I think it's community repository with definition, with a new definition of all those labels, or at least updated definition.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should do that for the node special feature, node feature. Node alpha feature and node special feature. I don't even know if we really documented that anywhere. I'll check K community on that one. Like it wasn't well used. I don't know where it was introduced and who was actually using those features, but it wasn't that hard to clean those up. The node feature one is a pain, and I do think I should find the documentation on that one and clean that up. I'll add that to the tracking issue.
Yeah, and lastly, do we want to switch from feature to feature gate? In some places, it'll be way easier to explain to people who start a new alpha features.
Yeah, that one. All right, so that's another one that where was that defined? Sorry, give me a sec. Nope, internal Slack. Bad. All right. Yeah, so you're talking about something like this right here, where we can say framework with feature gate.
Yes. So this way, we shouldn't introduce a feature for every single feature gate, especially for feature gates that definitely will go into like node conformance, which is something that works everywhere every time. We just cannot enable it while it's in alpha. So for alpha, we'll need to have separate job. But then once it's past alpha, it's enabled everywhere. So we don't need to clean up the feature. We just remove the feature gate and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is like which order of operations. I mean, at the end of the day, like we'll still have these features. I think cleaning them up and keeping them separate right now, and then like we have the existing features, and a lot of them aren't even backed by, I mean, for new features, I think we would want to encourage framework with feature gate. For the existing ones, like eviction is under a node feature, and we don't want that as a feature gate, but it is a feature. So I think it's kind of independent. Overall, I definitely can add. I see this PR from Carlori, and so I'll maybe follow up with him or her to understand a little bit better about where they are with this.
I think it's her, but I don't remember. Anyway, I think it will be interesting. Like in this cap that you listed, I try to show the workflow, like how people will add feature gates and which tasks that they will be looking at. It will be nice to if you can document it somewhere step by step and make sure that we actually have this workflow running.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because this is the biggest problem with every contributor and with us testing the features. It will be easiest if everything is marked with feature gate and we have a job running all the alpha feature gates with all alpha feature gates enabled. In this case, like you always have a job that you can validate every new alpha features on without creating a test lane every time like a new feature gate is introduced.
Yeah, where was it was the workflow just here?
It was so long ago.
Yeah. All right. I will have to. Yeah, I think a few of us.
I don't imply that you will do it. I just trying to see if you were planning to do that. If not, then we can discuss in the year if anybody else wants to take it.
No, I mean, I think, yeah, I was gonna focus on the ones I have the issue for now, getting those in order, and ideally trying to do them before enhancement freeze opens up. I was hoping to try to get it done before the end of the year, but I no real timeline. I just want to try to get it in before a lot more people start developing in 1.33.
Okay.
And then at least like trying to, I mean, I think getting the labels, removing some of these labels will be helpful. And then I haven't really looked at how we do like the feature gates. Like it is kind of a mess. Like that's what I felt like in the last release was no one really knows like when what tests, like what job will pick up a test, and we kind of just guess for the most part, because like I don't know if I don't love the idea of every feature should have a dedicated test lane for it, because like what we have now is we have a lot of test infra configs that we maintain, and at least in non-SIG node there is a generic test for alpha features, and it would be nice to kind of have like a place where we can have like a SIG node related test for alpha features. The only issue is I don't know how well that would work if a feature gate spans multiple different components, which is like what we run into with DRA and having to set the feature gate in a few places. So I don't know. And just thinking about like how it make it easier for external contributors to contribute a feature and make sure there's a test, and we know like how can we see if their test is actually running in the CI, because what I have found is that a lot of if you write a test in SIG, oh wait, see I can never even find this one. SIG testing, yeah, SIG testing kind. We have this test kind master alpha, which is what basically runs all our alpha features sans SIG node. And then I think it does do test ETE/node. And so some people have been using this test, and this is a test that kind of regressed this release and exposed a lot of problems, but it wasn't as clear to me like if we would want to start trying to add tests to this. And I know from the cryo side, we can't even really test with kind at all. So I was trying to think about how we want to have alpha, like an alpha test lane in SIG node. Maybe I'll think about that one a little bit more, or whether or not it's a good idea. I don't know. What do you all like? What do you all think about how we're addressing features in SIG node, like for testing? Like right now, I think the workflow is that you write an end-to-end test, you create a test infra config for a pre-submit that turns your feature on, and then that feature author is supposed to be monitoring that job and making sure it keeps running, and eventually it should get promoted into a periodic that we as SIG node monitor. And I guess that seems to be the process we have now. I don't know, most of the time what happens is people don't add, they might add an end-to-end test, but they forgot to do the test infra config, so then that test may or may not actually be running anywhere, which is what we have found has happened more than once.
Yeah, and more interesting when it's running somewhere unexpectedly. It's even sometimes it's even worse. Yeah, it's definitely hardest part of a review. Like every time I have a review to make, I was trying to figure out where tests will run and how it's labeled and all that.
Yeah, and like this is just something I've noticed as reviewing reviewing PRs, and I think the general consensus is that as a reviewer for SIG Node, we should really be, or I would like to try and trigger PRs on, or trigger jobs on PRs, but sometimes those tests don't exist, and sometimes those pre-submits don't work. So, and I guess the best is that once it merges, this group overlooks the test grid and sees if if the test regressed. But anyway, I'll think about the test flow and the feature gate cleanup, and I'll talk to Kiki and see what she has, just like what she's working on.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's loud and clear feedback from retrospective was that we need to deal with that. It's something that we need to put on a 2025 roadmap for sure. Okay, thank you very much for making first step. Is there any more questions from anybody else?
Also welcome help from anyone else too. It's yeah.
Yeah, I will
Anyone?
have more luck in New Year.
Yeah, no,
But,
absolutely.
I
And
hear
I mean, I
it's
guess,
not a good time to clean up stuff because not too many changes happening. But at the same time, it's like not too many people around.
yeah, I guess that's sort of maybe a question for you, Sergey. Like, depending on how far we get with this, do we want to try and address this during, like, once like enhancement implementation stuff is done, or should we kind of freeze those changes until after? Like, we don't have that much time to like do this where people are not actually pushing PRs to Kubernetes, and so I don't know if it's too disruptive to try and change all this while the enhancement process, the enhancement stuff is going on.
I think enhancement stuff is fine. I really don't want to disrupt. Like once enhancement freeze happened, then it's disruptive. But before that, it shouldn't be that disruptive. So I hope that we
Okay.
have whole January for this.
All right then. But yeah, you're saying like after once enhancement freeze is over, we should probably not do too much testing for a cleanup because that will cause a bunch of
Yeah,
confusion. But yeah, I'll be here in January, so I'll make sure to make good progress on all this.
sounds good. And I'll see if anybody can help on our side as well. Okay, and while
Yeah,
doing
that's it for me.
this week, please ping me if needed. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go to bug triage? $41.
Would
Yeah,
you like to run it?
I can go ahead and run it.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like I think I looked at the test grid. Really, the main issue is related to me, so I'll be following up on looking into those with those tests. So we can skip that for now. All right. Sorry, am I still sharing? I am not.
No, you know.
All right. So okay. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Oh man. Okay. So I think what happened is we got a bunch of tests that got required to be re-triaged. So wait, why did? Let me look.
Basically, after a certain period of inaction, they get re-triaged automatically. I closed this one, and then I realized that we actually didn't really address it. I got myself confused on where we addressed it. So I reopened it. I don't know if we're going to do it, so I put it in the backlog and I marked it out. I triaged it. I guess I forgot to put it on the board, but.
Okay. All right then. Well, that one is done. All right. Okay. So now this one. From 2022. All right. All right, Peter, I'm just going to mark this one as triaged. I don't know why the bot doesn't do it.
Yeah, there may be a number that I forgot to actually do it
And
manually.
the previous bug still had like rotten label. Maybe you can remove it.
Okay. I
yeah.
think I lost that one. Oh, wait, here we go. I have it still. All right.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody wants to GA graceful termination.
That's a good
Yeah.
question. I think we should probably bring that one up in SIG Node.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's in this weird state where there was like momentarily a conversation that Clayton was driving that like sort of revitalized it. And in the meantime, there's the SIG apps initiative to do, or SIG scheduling, I forget,
SIG apps.
initiative to do declarative node maintenance. And like Christoph, who's on our team, is basically just like confused as to what the state is. Like it's just like it's not totally clear like what we want to do. So yeah, I think it requires larger SIG conversation, but there's basically like too many ideas floating around, and it's not really concrete what we need to do about it.
Yeah, then I mean, I think the fundamental problem that we have from the Red Hat side around graceful node shutdown is I think for graceful node shutdown around daemon sets and static pods, I don't think works that well. And so we are hesitant to enabling it for us. I don't know, Ryan, was that right? I know you did a little bit of work on that, or a lot of work on that, sorry.
What's the question?
Graceful node shutdown from the OpenShift side. Like what our main issues with the feature being G8 are.
We have a ticket open upstream about daemon sets state machines not working correctly.
That's right.
I don't think it's been fixed yet.
Was there an issue with static pods, or was that one?
There was issues with admissions on static pods as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's at least where we are at on that one. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, I removed that. All right. Let's see what people said. I don't, do you guys know how to remove, oh, here we go. All right, delete from project. This one was, I think Peter, you moved this one to storage. It no longer has our name on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one.
I think it's better to archive it because it's when it's deleted, at some point it comes back again.
No, it doesn't have SIG Node label anymore, so it wouldn't.
Ah, okay.
Okay. All right. So Peter, I think this one we can just mark as triaged. Looking at what you have marked it here. I don't know what we'll do about this one. Oh, readiness probe should keep running during graceful node termination. Is this the same thing as graceful node shutdown?
I don't think it's the same thing, but it's related.
What I'm wondering is,
graceful node shutdown as well.
do we consider this important for potential GAing of graceful node shutdown?
Likely.
Or actually, is this Clayton's doc around the endpoints? Is this the motivation of that one? You all know what I'm talking about? I think you all do, right?
Yeah,
I'll build.
the big document that sort of describes the state of graceful termination. Yeah, so this is kind of where it exists now, is like Clayton's on paternity leave and kind of had an idea of where to go with things, but we never really had the conversation before he left. So it was kind of just in this weird.
All right. Well, then what I'm gonna do is, I don't know. I guess this is fine for now. Should I move it to?
I think it's one of those bugs that needs to be addressed for GA of the feature. It feels like a blocker for GA.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and just. I don't think this one is linked at all. So let me go ahead and. No, that's Windows.
This is Windows. Yeah. There was this sweet spot period for this cap that when everybody was using it and it was ready to GA. But then we found about this bug with endpoints and this readiness props, and now it's hard to GA.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, so this one, I'm gonna mark this one. Just so it sounds, is that right? Sounds like it's a little bit more than a backlog if we're blocking it. All right, this one sounds like with all these comments that I think we should probably accept this one. I think this is another one related to graceful node shutdown does not update endpoints for terminating pods. All right. Let's see why this one. Kubelet volume manager. All right. I don't know. It sounds like we're not getting a lot of eyes on this one.
We did something about it recently. But I reviewed the SIG storage PR from it.
No, not that one. All right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna remove. Is this really SIG Node related? Will we say this is more storage?
It's kind of both.
All
I mean,
right.
it's sync loop and like changes there are quite sensitive.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, who's a good person? Messao, I think I recognize. Oh yeah, I met her. All right.
Yeah, I found a PR. I think it's that one. Yeah, send it in the Zoom. Send it in the Zoom.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if this is related, but it sounds the same. Oh, it's a node shutdown. Sorry. Maybe
Oh
it's
no,
not.
no worry. All right. Graceful node shutdown, not evacuating all pods. A lot of comments. Okay.
It might be useful for us to have a board with graceful node shutdown issues. I don't have to do that now, but just a spot like similar to how
Is it a bug or a
auto
feature?
scaling.
Do you
This
remember
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember which ones were not evacuated? Is it daemon sets requirement or like something else?
I didn't really look at it. I just see that there was a lot of discussion, and it looks like this is one that just got re-triaged.
I see. Okay.
It still seems relevant. I mean, I haven't. All right, I'll add this one to Graceful Node Shutdown also. But yes, Peter, I agree. I think having a project, well, I don't know. That's having a project board for the Graceful Node Shutdown would probably be helpful, just so we actually know where we are, especially now that Windows has their own. And so we'd want to make sure that, like, why this has stalled. I don't even know. It's not as clear. Yeah, we have this blockers. Okay. I can add, maybe add these PRs to the blockers section for this for now. All right, grace period, elegant delete may only reset once. So it looks like there's a recent PR on this one that's getting. All right. I think we can go ahead and triage this one. Triage duplicate. All right. Okay. I'll do triage. Accept them.
I really like how it's titled elegant delete instead of graceful.
Yeah.
You can retitle it.
All right. I don't even know. Ryan, do you remember the context of this one?
This might. So a projected config map wasn't being updated. It might have been fixed since. Not sure.
How did you was this recent test runs? Okay. Was this an upstream test failure or no?
Yeah, the projected config map update.
Probably way old.
Might be closable.
All right. I'm just gonna head in. All right. All right. All right. I think this is probably still valid. All right. It sounds like a thread was worked on this 2 years ago, and then kind of not gone anywhere. All right, I think we can remove triage accepted. All right, so yeah, my thought process is it looks like this is pretty well discussed, but I don't think anyone's made too much progress on it. Triage, last. All right, so triage, storage. All right. All right, I have a feeling this is still relevant.
I did a change recently. I do not account for terminated pods any longer for pod admission. I don't know why. I mean, a few years back, Clayton added check, like he removed the check for terminated pods in admission. And it caused all sorts of problems when successfully completed jobs that are still waiting for finalizer would start failing on admission when Kubernetes starts. So I changed it back and I discussed with Clayton and he said it's okay. We didn't find any good examples when it shouldn't be checked. And now this resurfaced. I think it was created before we had this discussion and recent change I made.
Yeah, this PR was, I mean, this issue was in 2021.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe
I don't know why we would need to readmit anything. Yeah, you can mention it.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'm not as sure on this one. But I think in terms of the triage, I think this is the right state for now.
Yeah.
All right. Keyword has no rate controls after a pod was evicted. Oh, wrong one. I don't know. I mean, this is probably relevant. I don't know if I agree with this being a bug. Mm.
I mean, pod eviction is not happening immediately, right?
Yeah, well, I think the issue is the problem is if you have like a deployment and a pod gets evicted, the deployment will create the new one. And I guess they were talking about some kind of, I think it sounds like it's some kind of feature for like an eviction back off.
Yeah, it will be hard to know if it's the same pod.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't know.
Perhaps needs to rename it into feature.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. All right. This is a long one.
Yeah, remove
Right.
SIG Node at some point. Is it still SIG Node?
I see SIG Node on this
Oh.
one. I think I'll scroll through this real quick. They probably wanted SIG Nodes weigh in on how the pod stuff goes. Yeah, you removed it. And then although added it back.
The bug is somewhere around eviction and exit codes, like some reliability in what we said is asked for. Yeah, I guess it's a feature request. I mean, I think it's between feature request and bug.
Yeah. All right. Triage accepted.
You should drop now to walk to another room. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Holiday.
All right. You guys want to go ahead and call it? I wanna.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you for driving.
Yep. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. See you all next year.
Happy holidays.